What is going on, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a great day. Happy hump day. It is Wednesday, July 24th. We are approaching 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Taking a look at the SPY right now, looking at the overall market. The SPY has just really been struggling right at this 300 level right here. Going back, it really failed to hold over it right here. And since then, it's found resistance on it. It's testing it again right now. But we've been getting pullbacks down to this 296 level. And it's slowly been making a little bit higher lows. So just be patient. Let these big companies continue to put their earnings out. So far, earnings has been going good. All of these companies have been putting out better than expected earnings, and that could fuel the market and push the market up. So if these companies continue to keep putting out good earnings, look for the SPY to get over that 300 level and just explode over that 300 level. The fate of the market is in the earnings reports of all these big companies. I love it how it always plays out with the overall market conditions with the NASDAQ, the SPY, the Dow Jones. It's always like a dramatic movie. And whatever's going on around the world or in the United States, it's really fascinating how the markets move with the what's going on around the world. But currently, the SPY is in the top part of its range at this 300 level. And if you look at the 1 minute chart, what do you see here? This is a pattern right here. This is a head and shoulders pattern. This is a bearish pattern. You got your shoulder right here. You got your shoulder right here. You got your head right there. And another shoulder right here. And this 299, 300 level is like the neckline for it. It's not the greatest looking head and shoulders, but you could see it. And you always want to try to visualize and think what other people around the world especially. That's why you see a lot of patterns form on the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, because you have people all around the world looking at the same chart. So bearish right now on the SPY for the rest of the day. That's my opinion though. It's been really struggling at this 300 level, like I said. So let's get into the good stuff. What's happened today? Pre-market, there really wasn't anything too fascinating gapping up on the gap scanners. I had ITCI on my watch list after this big sell down from $12 all the way down to $8, bouncing up to $9 before the close yesterday right here. Today was gapping up a little over this $9 area. I wanted to keep an eye on it to see maybe if it would bounce off this $9 and maybe run up to this big mental level of $10 and play with that. ITCI has a float of 48.7 million, which is on the bigger side, and its average true range is $1.10. But right when this opened up at 916, sold all the way down to 870, and then down to 820, and then down below $8 to 750. And from 750, this has been getting good bounces up to $8. Right here, the 750 level. I'm always looking at general areas. I never look at specific price areas like $7.62. That's acting as support. Get that out of your mindset. Always try to look at charts in mental areas. Every 25 cents, every 50 cents, every 75 cents, and every dollar. And every $5, every $10, $100, always look at big mental levels. It's psychology. There's a video that I watched last night. Let me get the link to it real quick for you guys. It's definitely a must watch. And if you know the podcast, Chat with Traders, it's a 3-year-old video, but it got me thinking. This video right here, I'll leave a link for it in the description of this video. But there's a lot of great content in this podcast right here with this trader who loves using the VWAP. And he mentions a key special hidden gems in this podcast about psychology. Everybody's knowledge of psychology is different, and everybody interprets the market information differently. And that's what separates us all as traders. We all look at the market differently. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to determine a payday for us or if we're losing money in the markets. So real quick, let me enter this into the video description for you guys. It should be in the description here in a second as soon as it updates, but very great video here. It is 2 hours long, but listen to it and take notes. This guy knows what he's talking about. And also follow him on Twitter as well. You always want to try to grow more and more as a trader in the markets. But ITCI, nice place today. And this just goes to show you again, you don't have to trade what everybody else is trading. You can trade whatever you want. There are so many stocks in the market. If it has volume and it's volatile, do it. Look at from $7.50 up to this $8 mental level right here. And the VWAP is right there as well. So $7.50 right there up to $8. Came all the way back down. $7.50 right back up to almost $8 right there. These are the type of plays that I like to look for in the markets. I love, love, love range plays. That's easy money to me. And then JNCE was also on my watch list. Gapping up. Let's see. I'm trying to see the news real quick. I can't see what the news is, but it was gapping up to this 550 level right here. I wanted to see if it could get above this 550 level and hold above it, volume push into it. But right when the market opened, it sold off from this 530 level down to 480. Was looking like it was trying to grind up right here, up to $5, this mental area right there. But it started to form a rounding top. And when you see rounding tops, those are bearish signs. If you see rounding bottoms, those are bullish signs. So this was forming a rounding top here at $5 and then failed and sank all the way down to 460, went sideways at 460, just getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and then fell below that 460 down to 440, and now 460 is acting as resistance. Right there. You see how it does that? And then out of nowhere, DMPI pops up. DMPI pops up on news that it enrolls its first patient in recently approved study, phase 2 study. This is a low float stock with the flow of, what is it? It's like 3.6 million. So it's a low float stock, has news. The stock rips from $1.30 all the way up to $2.45. Pulls back to $2. This mental area. You see why I love these mental areas? $2 right here. Even when it popped up right here, it found resistance at $2, pulled back to around $1.75 right there, and then shot up and blew through that resistance at 2, topping out at 240. Excuse me. Topping out at 240 and then pulling back an old resistance right here, became new support, $2. This would have been a good entry right here at $2. This thing popped up to 240 right there, pulled back down to around 205, and then shot up to 265. And then after that, it just lost momentum, trended down, fell below, or came down, fell below VWAP, I'll say that, and then came down to this $2 level. And it was just hanging around this $2 level from $2 up to 208. And then I was watching the ask, and as this was moving along, first it started off with a 45,000 share order was on the ask. And then as we got deeper into it, it turned into a 70,000 order on the ask. And then as we got a little bit deeper, it turned into a 100,000 order on the ask. Paying attention to detail. And the ask just got bigger and bigger and bigger as this went on right here. And then it tried to get a little pop right here to surge up. It did eat through it, but then it just ran into a huge, huge selling wall on the ask, and then it failed, and then this thing sunk down to $1.80. DMPI was a weird mover though. If you were watching the tape, every single time this stock would try to move up, it would just run into a huge wall of sellers. And if you put together the puzzle, remember, you want to try to be a detective when in the markets. You want to try to put the puzzle together. DMPI last spiked here on May 31st of 2019, running from $1.70 all the way up to $5.76. The volume on that day was 5.4 million in volume. So as this got over $2 and started running up to $2.50 and $2.70, you got to look at the daily and tell yourself, when it first spiked right here, how many people are trapped in this stock and have been bag holding it, waiting for the day for this to pop up and get out of it. This is their day right here. So that goes with what I was saying. Every time this stock would move up, it would just run into a huge wall of sellers. And that was probably a lot of bag holders from this day right here. Imagine it's closing at near the high of its day at $4 and you decide to swing it for the next day, maybe to sell into a morning spike. You wake up, the next day it gapped down all the way to $2.50 and you're down. So you just end up holding it as it's decaying and decaying and just waiting for it to pop up again so you can get out. But DMPI, you could see the demand for this stock. Every time it popped up and ate through all those big orders on the ask, they were just eating through it and just kept eating through it and eating through it. So you could tell there was a demand there for the stock. And if there's a demand there for the stock, then it's going to keep pushing up. Remember, it's basic supply and demand. You got to put it all together. All right, moving on. Snapchat is another one. Snapchat put out better than expected earnings, and it's got its price target raised from $17 to $20. So the more news releases and press releases that you have, the better. It's an earnings winner. They're raising the price target on it. That's going to attract volume. Snapchat, right at the end of the day here. Well, we'll look at it like this. All day right here yesterday, it just kept grinding up and grinding up from investors anticipating the earnings. And then when they finally released the earnings and it was better than expected, it shot from $14.75 all the way up to almost $17. Today it opens up right at this $16 level, right when the market opened at $16, just fires all the way up to $17. And then look at that surge over 17 and topping out at 17.40. Pulls back all the way down to the VWAP right here and the $17 area. Remember, always look at it in general areas. Pulled back, popped up to 17.10, and then right here, just claiming $17, just sitting there. And from 17, got a nice move all the way up to 17.30. Sideways consolidation, not going anywhere, topping out, falls back down to 17. And then slowly working its way right back up to the highs here at 17.30. Range. That's what I would call this. Range from 17.30 to $17. Just back and forth. Long consolidation right here. But then falls right back down and just grinds its way all the way back up. And then THC, nice little grind today as well. This came out with news that it's got a spin-off for tax-free, their tax-free business. Look at this, from gaps up here pre-market just below $20. Market opened from almost 19, sells off all the way down to 17.50, and from 17.50 grinded all the way up to $19 and topping out here at 19.40. I like this area right here. You got a tombstone doji right here. You got a dragonfly doji right here. That's indecision. Dojis are indecision. I highly recommend studying candlesticks. Study Steve Neeson's work. He's like the candlestick guru. He's the best. But you want to know your candlesticks and the types of candlesticks. This tombstone doji and dragonfly doji, when you have two of them like that, that's telling me that there's indecision. The bears and the bulls are playing a tug of war. They don't know which way they want to go. And then it finally gives way with this candle right here to the upside. And then from there, it never looked back. And look what happened. It just went up and up and up and up and up and up. Little notices of this right here. That's why it's important to study, guys. Study it all up. Eat it all up. When I first started out, I studied my butt off on candlesticks. I made flashcards. I read all the candlestick books I could get my hands on. There's two books I would highly recommend for candlesticks. Steve Neeson's Beyond Candlesticks and his part 2 book. I forget what it's called, but I think Beyond Candlesticks is the second one. The first one is a gold book. Let me see. I know I got it. I'll show you guys real quick. Two of the best books ever. Right here. This book right here. Japanese Candlestick Charting Techniques. A must read and must own. And then the second book he came out with. Beyond Candlesticks. These two books right here for candlesticks. They're the best. But knowing that information with that right here could have, that's just more conviction and more confidence to take on a trade and waiting for it. And when it finally gave way, it's just a great example of looking what happened. From $17.50, this ran all the way up $2. Alright, moving on. I also had KERN on my watch list. If I just, we'll look at the 65-minute chart. This is the stock that ran from $10 all the way up to $72. It came all the way back down, but I'm keeping an eye on it because I just want to see what it does. It did look like the selling pressure is starting to kind of like slow down a little bit, and it's starting to go sideways at this $12 area and starting to kind of like move its way on up. So I just want to keep an eye on it and see what it does. If this can get back over like $14.50 and $15, then people will start paying attention and watching this thing to see what it does. So KERN is on watch for me. And also KERNW, because KERNW runs in sync with Kern. This stock right here. And you see how KERNW is kind of like taking the lead this time. Went all the way up, fell down, sideways, and then now it's moving its way on up. So you gotta keep an eye on it. So many stocks to talk about, guys. OSTK is still in its range from 17 to 20. SOLY, I'm still keeping SOLY on watch. CHMA was on watch today. I just wanted to see what it did, because yesterday this was the hot stock and it closed pretty decently, I'd say. It closed decently, I'll say that, with this $8 resistance closing at $7.75. This opened up right at $7.75. So I had it on watch today to see if it could get over $8 and hold over $8 and maybe volume push into it. But volume lost interest in it. It fell below 8 and has never looked back since. But it's still hanging around. So I'm going to still keep CHMA on watch. And then RLGY, I know a lot of people were watching this with the news with Amazon. The float is just too big and massive on it. I mean, I know it has a big name attached to it, Amazon, but the float on RLGY is 113 million. That's a huge float. You're going to need a lot of volume to get going on this thing. And if you look at the daily chart, this daily chart isn't tempting at all. Ever since 2017, this thing has just been Just straight rainbow effect all the way down. Just like that. And look at all these big death candles on it. Big death candles. Right there. Right there. All these up in here. It's not a great looking chart. You got to tell yourself and put that stuff together when analyzing stocks. You want to look at charts and ask yourself, is this chart going to attract volume? Is it going to attract other investors? No. But RLGY had a little pop today from 6 up to 635 and then just sold off. Because just kept selling and selling and selling and selling. But, I mean, it's still got to be on watch, though, because it's got Amazon attached to it. Anything's possible. And then ON, I wanted to talk about. ON Semiconductor, moving from $21 up to $22. Told you guys, a lot's going on today. A lot of stocks to talk about. Currently support at $22. Double topping at $22.20. And a descending wedge as well. And then with ON, there is NAVI. If I can get my stuff right. NAVI from $14 today, running up to $15.60. And then again, look at this big rounding top right here. Rounding tops are bearish. So look for NAVI to fall to the VWAP and probably fall down for the day. Had a great morning though. A really great morning. But that's going to about wrap it up for today, guys. Hopefully you guys all had a great day. And I will see you guys all tomorrow, Thursday. Be patient, have that discipline, and study, 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 guys. All right, guys. Later.